Welcome to Dear Daughters of God. My name is Stephanie Eccles. I'm your host, and I'm so glad you joined us today. I've always enjoyed fashion, but a couple of years ago, I gave up fashion when it came to purses for functionality. Life was complicated enough, and to move from purse to purse just became too much. And I found this black functional purse. Some might even call it an ugly purse, but it was just functional. And it was just the right size. And then what I could do is I could put a smaller purse inside of it. And embarrassingly, it's white. They don't even match. But the white purse is big enough just for my cell phone and my cards and things like that. So if I just want the smaller purse, I can just take it out. It's like a wallet purse. Well, so I've gotten used to just carrying a functional black purse. It was a short while ago that I went to the Broadway movie theater. It's not a movie theater that I often go to, but this is where a hard-to-find film played. And I really wanted to see this film. So Richard and I went, and I had my black purse, of course. So we go into this film, and boy, was the film worth it. It was just took you on an emotional journey. It was a romance, but great heartache along with this romance. It was one of those films that you could feel the emotion from those surrounding you. They were so involved in this film, like I was, that I was just caught up in this emotion of love and then sorrow, a great sorrow and loss. Oh, by the end, I couldn't move for a moment. I just had to watch and sit there and just let it settle in. And tears were running down my cheek. And I was thinking, what just happened? How could that happen? Finally, I gather myself together and I'm ready to leave. So we get in the car and I'm just expressing these emotions that we've gone through, and so is Richard. And we're still making sense of it and coming to grips, or coming to that feeling of, is it all okay the way it ended? Or, and did you notice this little tiny part here? Things like that. And so then we're just about to arrive home. We live about half an hour from the theater, and I look down in the car because I figure I need my phone. You know, I can't go very long without the phone. And my phone is not there. Matter of fact, my black purse is not there. And I'm like, no, I have my black purse. I'm sure I had my black purse. So I'm hopping in the back seat thinking, I must put it in the back seat. It's not in the back seat. I have it back in the front seat. I'm looking under every compartment there is, sure, that my black purse is with me, because I don't leave my black purse. But it was not in the car. It was just not there. I was like, no way. My entire life, everything I own is, or of great importance, identifiers, cards, everything is in that purse. I use Richard's phone. I grab Richard's phone. I gotta call the theater. And gratefully, it was one of those smaller theaters. So I actually got a person on the line, not just a computerized answer. And it was a very kind woman. And I explained to her what happened, and I apologized that I was even bothering her with this. But I just wanted to know, can I just come back, or like immediately, and look through the theater for my purse? And she said, well, actually, there's another film happening in the same theater right now, so you can't come back. I mean, you can come back, but you can't go to the theater and search for it right now. And then she told me it would be a little bit after midnight that I could do that. So I settled on the reality that I was going to be up for a few more hours and go back and get my purse. And sure enough, we went back down to the Broadway theater around midnight. This time, Richard just dropped me off so he could stay, kind of circle the block. I went in and I looked for this manager. I knew her name. And I asked every employee I could find for this manager. They didn't know where she was. So I just asked an employee, is it all right if I just go into this theater? And the employee said, yeah, I think so. So I went into the theater, very carefully to make sure I wasn't interrupting a movie. And it was empty. It was empty and dim, quite dim. And I thought, great, this is my chance. And I knew the general place where I sat, but it was not numbered seating. It was general seating. So I knew I was on the center section on the far right side and about so many rows down. So I start walking backwards downhill and looking under each set of seats and feeling, because it was dark. It was dark. And so I'm using my eyes, but I'm also using my hands, feeling around. I know it's sticky and gross, but I had to find my purse. So I'm down there doing that. And then someone comes into the theater, and it was the manager. She calls out, "Hello, you must be Stephanie." And I stand up, "Yes, hello, Amber, thank you. Thank you for taking my call and for your concern. It was so good of you to help me with this." And so anyway, I've just started my look, and she goes, "Oh, I'm sorry I didn't catch you earlier, because I have already searched this theater with my other employees, and we've been through every row, and your purse is not here. I'm so sorry." I was like, I see. And I said, "Well, is it all right?" And as I say that, I just come down into a squatting position and reach out to my right on the next row as she's saying this. And I feel something right on the ground. And I'm like, whoa, this feels like a leather purse. And I pull it up and I said, "This is it." And she said, she was a little embarrassed. I don't know how that was there. I mean, we went through every aisle. I mean, I had a few employees in here, but hey, I'm glad you found it. And I said, "Well, me too. Thanks so much for your effort and for your help and patience with me." And I dash out of the theater with my purse, holding it to my chest like, "Oh, thank goodness." And when I get in the car, I just search it for everything, and everything is there. Not one card is missing, not my identity, my driver's license, for instance, not my driver's license. And just so relieved. We get home, can't wait to go to bed. The next morning, a little bit after I wake up, what comes to me is that experience. I'm thinking about the purse. As I'm thinking about that situation the night before and thinking about the purse and how thrilled I am and grateful that it was there and all of its contents, then a thought comes into my mind. And it was like this: your testimony is like that purse. No one on earth carries a greater responsibility for it than you do. And I started thinking about that. Well, there are others around us that can help us with our testimony, and they can encourage us. Others could even search with me for my testimony, but in the end, we are the caretakers of our testimonies. And then I thought, right, yes, no one on this earth carries a greater responsibility for my testimony than I do. Then I found this beautiful quote from President Russell M. Nelson. He gave it in the year 2022. He said this: "I plead with you to take charge of your testimony of Jesus Christ. Work for it, own it, care for it, nurture it so that it will grow. Then watch for miracles to happen in your life." And perhaps this is why the lesson touched me so deeply, because I realized that I had treated the purse with extraordinary care. And heaven was gently asking me, do you treat your testimony that way too? And that was a lesson that the Spirit taught me that day. Thank you for joining me on Dear Daughters of God. Remember, because of Him, it is enough.